Blwyddyn newydd dda, Happy New Year to you all. Welcome to Wrexham Property TV, the January edition. And let's see what's coming up in January's episode of Wrexham Property TV. Now, this is the time of year, of course, we all have New Year's resolutions and new plans for the future. Now, not everybody will be looking to possibly purchase a new home or a new property. Some people will be looking to improve the property they're in already. And I thought it'd be well worthwhile to look at what you could do to improve your home and at the same time add real value to your property. When anybody is viewing your property, the first impressions are incredibly important. So much so, I would say to you, if a viewing starts on a positive note, that the front garden is neat and tidy, that there's a front door that looks recently painted or new, adds to the positivity of the viewing. Getting your house looking attractive and having curb appeal is possibly the least expensive way in which you can add value to your property. So there's lots of properties within the town that have got a cellar, and converting a cellar is an increasingly popular way by which people increase the floor space, the living space within the property. It comes under permitted development rights. It's slightly different in conservation areas. You might want to consult with a local authority there, but in most instances it's completely permitted and planning applications are not required. Another popular work project that homeowners undertake is when they convert their garage. I would say before you consider doing that, it's important for the homeowner to consider the location of the home. A garage in a town centre environment is regarded as particularly valuable because of space restrictions and parking restrictions. If your property's in a rural location, then I would say space there tends to not to be a problem, and therefore, again, I would certainly consider what value you hope to get from a conversion, a garage conversion. Another very popular project was a new kitchen. Undoubtedly, it will make your property far more marketable. It rarely adds to the value. In fact, most research would suggest whatever value you've invested in the kitchen, you'll do well to get the same added value to any property sale you would get subsequently. What's really popular with buyers at the moment is a kitchen space that is big enough where you can prepare food, you can dine, and you can entertain all in the same space. So possibly the second most popular is installing a new bathroom. But yet again, it doesn't actually offer you a significant increase in the value of your home. Nevertheless, I go back to what I said about a new fitted kitchen. In terms of putting your stamp on the property, I can fully understand it, and it's a worthwhile exercise to give you some personal satisfaction.
I think if you go to the start of 2021, we were all rejoicing when off the back of the vaccine programme being rolled out. I think if we look even further back than that into 2019 and the start of the pandemic, I think the economy proved that it was really resilient. I think a lot of that was to do with people became accidental savers. They were suddenly locked up, unable to go anywhere. I think that the support that the government actually offered over that period was exceptional to people that were unable to go to work. But what it actually meant, They weren't able to go on holiday. They weren't able to go to restaurants and spend money where they were used to spending spare cash. So like I said, people became accidental savers. I expected property prices to kind of start to peter out or at least level off. It really doesn't appear to be the case. The only reservation I may have on that statement is if the Bank of England start to look at raising interest rates to try and combat inflation. I think the Bank of England have resisted it because they're desperate for the economy to get back going, and raising interest rates will mean that those businesses that have suffered and have had to borrow in that period will then only have to pay more back. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 0.5% jump, so from a 0.25 to maybe 0.75. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw at the end of the year as hitting a 1% or even fraction higher than that. But remember, interest rates are still historically low, so it's very, very cheap to borrow money. If you look at an average mortgage of about 150,000 over a 25-year period, it's not unusual to be paying around about a 2% interest rate at this moment in time. The payments on that will be close to around £540 a month. Let's say it went at 1%. You'd be then paying closer to £620 a month. So it's an increase of about £80 a month, give or take. But that's not the only thing that you have to consider. If we look at the cost of energy that's risen significantly over the last couple of months, these are all the things that people have to factor in when they're looking at moving to a bigger house. I still think that the fallout from Brexit hasn't been felt. But if you look at the things to really be mindful of, and when we produce a portfolio for any client, is diversification. Not having all your eggs in one basket. We use property as a good diversification tool so people can have a good spread across various different assets to achieve the best growth and spread the risk.
Thanks very much to James Parry from Hadlow Edwards. That's a projection for 2022. Now I'd like to throw back to last year, and I'd like to show you some of my favourite interviews that we undertook in Wrexham. What caught my eye with this business is the fact that I'm not aware of anybody who's got quite a business like this.
First and foremost, I'm a trainer cleaner. That's my basic role. But it's just progressed into recolouring, full custom work, so they can have any sort of music, band, football club, any sort of lettering, personalisation, daughter's name, son's name, anything like that along that way. And then also obviously I'm introducing a full range of bespoke trainers. That's encourage people to come out and shop and pick up little bits and pieces that they might not be able to get online. The reason I've set this store up in the first place is because I remember being a teenage boy, going to Whitley Sports, going to Stuart Mason Sports, being able to pick trainers off a shelf. And these days you can't really do that. Everything's online, and there's no emotion to it.
Visually, you succeeded.
Yeah, it's all about colours, isn't it? As well, I think. And if they really do think.
I love the one that caught my eye where you've even got a Patagonia trainer.
Yeah.
This iconic brand within Wrexham is something that I think is indistinguishable between the town and the people of Wrexham. This is a brand that was hugely successful, fell on hard times, and over the last 10 years has started its comeback journey and is now being successful once again.
Well, I'll give you a brief. It was started off in the late 1800s by German immigrants. Lager at those days was not popular, and the business originally failed. It was then taken over by a fellow called Gresser, who introduced mechanical refrigeration.
And this was all in Wrexham itself?
This is all in Wrexham, all on the old brewery site. Gresser went on a trip abroad on a ship the ship hits a storm or the ale on board turned, but Wrexham Lager, which he'd taken his own supply of, was perfect. From there on it went on to cruise liners, etc, etc. It was on the Titanic and it was on the Cunard line all the way up until 1980s, I believe.
On this month's area guide, we will be concentrating on the lovely picture box village of Bangor-on-Dee, a beautiful village in lovely countryside and a favoured residential area for many, many years. Well, I'm in the village of Bangor-on-Dee doing our first real area guides. This very pretty village on the Welsh border and on the River Dee is a real magnet for visitors. I always would recommend that people come through to the village over the 5-arched bridge, which is famous, built in 1660 by Inigo Jones, although the village itself is even much, much older. And in fact, the church, the present church of St Dynawd, is believed to be built back in the 1300s. But of course, today we know Bangor-on-Dee as a village of some 1,200 people. Now, the village has got 2 pubs. It's got the Royal Oak, which is to my right-hand side over here. And it's also got the Buck House Hotel. Hot off the press, the news is that Buck House is going to be attracting investment in 2022, and it's going to be turned into a gastropub, which in a village like this I'm sure will be a massive attraction. Looking at last year, the majority of sales in Bangor-on-Dee were in fact detached houses. The average price being spent on a detached house last year being £340,000. A semi-detached at an average price of £159,000, and a terrace property an average price of £121,000. The overall average house price was £244,000, and overall, based on sold prices in Bangor-on-Dee in 2021, there was a whopping 23% increase on 2020. When I was doing my bit of research about Bangor-on-Dee, there were 2 facts, call them statistics if you like, that really caught my eye. One was that in Bangor-on-Dee, there's a higher percentage of bungalows as a total mix of housing stock, more than any other village in the county of Wrexham. And according to the census of 2011, with an average age of 51 years, it kind of builds you a picture that this is a very attractive place that people who are either partially retired or permanently retired actually want to come and live. I take you back to the 25th of February 1859, and that is the first date of a recorded race at this particular racecourse. Bangor-on-Dee racecourse is a left-handed jump racecourse that attracts thousands of people every year. And in 2022, there are 14 meetings already planned here, always COVID dependent. And that's the beautiful village of Bangor-on-Dee. Beautiful. If you've never actually been here before, then I guess seeing is believing. Take it away. So that was the village of Bangor-on-Dee. Now, if there are any geographical areas or subject matters relating to property that you would like us to cover on Wrexham Property TV, I would encourage you to get in touch with us. So that's it for the month of January on Wrexham Property TV. I hope you found our features this month entertaining, insightful and informative. I look forward to seeing you next month.